The early bird catches the worm. The early worm gets eaten. If you, this is in the spirit of interpreting codes. I chose this code and interpreted it as to the importance of getting sleep or sleep in general. I'll be explaining 2 reasons why sleep is important. One of which is sleep deprivation affects directly our daily functions, and the second is sleep is essential to being alive. And on the first note that sleep is essential to our daily functions, being college students, we all know that we do some of our works or homeworks the last minute. We cram, and I do that as well. So I can relate. From an article of the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, Lawrence Epstein, medical director of the Sleep Health Center in Brighton, Massachusetts, says that sleep deprivation affects not only whether a student can stay awake in class, but how they perform as well. In my earlier class back just this past Monday, because a classmate of mine by the name Justin, he partied for Halloween until like 3, and then he had class 8 in the morning. The instructor asked him to read a couple of sentences in the book, and then asked him a redundant question pertaining to what he just read, and he couldn't even answer it. She gave him hints after hints to read it back again, but he was just staring blank. That's what happens to when we don't get enough sleep. Sleeping can also improve your long-term memory retention, memory organization, and learning. And this happens in sleep, or our sleep happens in stages. The memory retention, memory organization, and learning are enhanced once we get to this stage called the REM, or rapid eye movement. That's when we're dreaming. It stimulates the brain. So with this, it also helps with how we function the following day. Going to this next point is that sleep doesn't only affect our being awake, it also affects how alert we are. And I interpreted that as sleep helps us or keeps us being alive. As someone who works from knock shift or radio shift, if you're familiar with that term more, it's hard to function like everyone else when you've been awake throughout the night. If you might notice, I just came from work. So it's pretty like that. I just blanked out. I don't know what I was supposed to say again. Good thing I have this. But for the rest of you, sleeping, well, let me first share with you a story of why I think it's important to staying alive. When I started working as NOC, I went home the morning after without any sleep from work, and I went past through a red light. Just realized it once someone was honking their horn at me. So that scared the hell out of me, and of course it wake me up. But good thing I'm still here to give you the speech. Hopefully no one else repeats that. So that's one part of it. The other part is that sleep is necessary for living. From an article in CBS, they had made an experiment on sleep, on keeping rats awake for 5 days, and after that 5 days, the rats died. Sleep deprivation doesn't only affect our alertness, but it also affects our health directly. According to the Division of Sleep Medicine from Harvard Medical School, many people do not realize that the lack of sleep is associated with long-term health consequences like diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease. And let me show you. And here's a picture of some of those health risks. Here's a picture of some of those health risks, and hopefully none of us get that through the lack of sleep that we get from being in college. And I've given you the importance of having sleep, and that one is it helps you function on a daily basis, and second is that it is necessary for staying alive. With this, I hope everybody gets enough sleep after. Thank you.
Could you tell me what the time was on that? 7:03? Okay, thank you. All right, I like the kind of opening reference to the quote, and almost like you're doing impromptu, but you do have a topic that you develop, and you tell us kind of where you're going with it. That's perfectly fine. The preview seemed a little too mechanical. I think it needs to be practiced and polished so it doesn't sound like you're just going through the motions, but you are, in fact, getting started in the speech. Excuse me. I thought the content was nicely developed. You had several good quotes and some interesting examples to talk about. You also personalized it with some personal experiences that makes it a lot more interesting. On the presentation issues, generally most things are solid. You project your voice pretty well. You look at us. I think your eye contact is solid. Sometimes your facial expressions are a little bit hidden behind half of your hair because, you know, you've got that hair hanging down over the one side of your face. Then you've got such a pretty smile. You know, you don't want to hide that. You know, everybody should be able to see that. The pacing is occasionally I know you're there somewhere. There you are. The pacing is occasionally a little problematic because you're hesitant, and whenever you've got the uncertainty, you stop. You have an interjection. It feels like you needed to have practiced it a couple more times just so that you know how things flow together. And even though you might not have the exact next word or the next spot that you're going to, you'd be able to get to it a little bit more polished. As it is, it feels very much like you're halting and hesitating in a lot of spots. Even though you've got good content and you're pretty well prepared there, that's something that would come if you had done it, practiced a few more times. That would make a difference. And that's also where the anxiety comes out. Whenever there's anxiety or nervousness, it seems to be mostly in your voice and in the pacing in the presentation. Otherwise, I didn't see any big problems there. All right, thank you.